Hi, my name is Sarah. I am an instructor with the Intermountain Healthcare's TOSH Pilates program. Today we're going to be doing a workout, a Pilates workout with weights. I have these weighted balls that are about 2 pounds. You can use anything you have at home. You can use dumbbells, you can use cans, you can use water bottles. You can be creative. Anything will work. So I'm excited to work with these and show you how they can help challenge your Pilates workout and assist in things that might be challenging for you. So with that said, let's get started. We'll start with the weights in our hands, laying on our backs. So we'll just lay down, knees bent, feet flat. We're in a neutral position through the pelvis and through the ribs. I've got my weights in my hands and arms are going to reach up towards the ceilings. My palms are facing one another here. And we're just going to do a little bit of protraction and retraction. So protraction, we're separating the shoulder blades, kind of punching your hands up towards the ceiling. And then you'll control to bring them back down and then squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Reaching up, pulling shoulder blades apart. Control as we lower down, squeeze shoulder blades together. It's small, okay? With these weights in our hand, it's going to feel challenging to push up. We're going to feel those pecs fire up, but then we're feeling it kind of deep in our retraction, okay? Good. Let's go ahead and find somewhere in the middle there. So finding your neutral. You want those shoulder blades lying as flat against the mat as you can. From here, my palms are still facing one another. I'm going to bring one arm overhead. The other arm drops down towards my hip. And I bring them through center and switch. So I'm scissoring my arms here. And we're just warming up. And what I want you to pay attention to is your rib cage, actually. So as your right arm lifts overhead, make sure you don't feel the right side of your ribs getting lighter and lifting off. I want you to keep them grounded. And then same for the left. That bottom rib needs to stay pressing into the mat. And of course, we're finding the range where, through our arm, that we're able to do that with a little bit of core engagement as well. Okay, bring your arms back up over your chest, adding just a little bit of mobility to that now, or a little more mobility, I should say. So my weights are facing one another, my palms are facing one another. As I lift my right arm overhead, my left arm goes down. So it's the same movement, but once they're there, my palms are going to face the ceiling. And then I come back through center, my palms face one another. I scissor the arms, and as I am, my palms rotate to face the ceiling, and then they come back through center. Okay, so we're just getting a little extra mobility through the shoulder joint there. Still working within the range, we can keep the rib cage stable. Really nice. One more each side. Okay, I like to set the weights to the side just for a brief moment to flip onto our stomachs. I'm still keeping the weights to the side, but they're close so I can grab them. These first couple exercises are to prepare for what we'll do with those weights. So hands under your shoulders. Laying down, I like to have my feet about, or my legs about hip width apart. You can choose where it's comfortable for you. On an inhale, we're going to lift the head and chest up just about an inch or two, not very high at all, and then lower back down. I want you to think there's a marble in front of your nose and you're pushing that marble away and then lifting up. So we want to find a bit of length through the spine before we lift. You can also think the crown of your head is reaching forward and then it lifts up. The goal here is to get upper and mid back to do the work rather than low back. Might take a little bit of glute engagement or separating the legs a little bit more. You can play around with it. Now arms are coming down to your side. Squeeze shoulder blades together. We'll do a few there. Same exact movement. Lengthening to lift. One more like that. Okay. Now you're going to grab onto your weights. You've got your weights in your hands. Your knuckles are facing one another. They're going to be under your forehead. Okay? We'll inhale to lift the left arm as the head and chest lift, and then lower down. And then we'll lift the right arm. Okay, so it's the same movement, but not only have we made it more challenging by lifting an arm with us, but we've got the weight with us. Make sure as you lift your left arm, you don't lean into your right. Okay, so I'm staying pretty weightless with the arm that's on the ground. One more each side like that. Still finding that length as I lift. Okay, now we're gonna add some more challenge to this. So more mobility through the shoulder, but we have to keep the same stability through our torso, okay? So we're gonna lift up the left arm. Now keep everything the same except the arm is gonna circle out to the side. As it goes down towards your hip, your palm rotates up to face the ceiling. And then you rotate it down and around, back to your head and down. We do that on the other side. So a ton of mobility through that shoulder, but you can feel, especially as that arm is way out to the side, we want to lean into the arm that's on the ground. I don't want you leaning. You're staying square. We're keeping this little, my toes are staying down. My neck is long. I'm reaching through my bun here. I feel this quite a lot in my upper back. Lots of good posture muscles here. Let's do one more each side. And of course, keep breathing. Gotta tell myself that. Very nice. Go ahead and drop your weights, push back into a shell stretch. Basically a child's pose. You're just rounding over your legs a little bit more so you can breathe into all those upper and mid-back muscles that we were just feeling. Very nice. Okay, rolling on up, grabbing onto your weights again. We're keeping them with us the whole time. So laying on your back again. Knees bent, feet flat. We are neutral through the pelvis. My arms are down by my sides. Weights and palms are facing the ceiling. Take an inhale. As you exhale, you're going to nod the chin, belly button, the spine, curl the head and shoulders up, and bicep curl at the same time. And then release it all. So it's a little crunch and a bicep curl. Make sure you're staying neutral in your pelvis as you curl, or as you crunch up. Oftentimes we want to kind of curl from both ends. I want your tailbone to stay heavy. It'll feel smaller, it'll feel different. That's okay. We're gonna hold this next one up and just continue to bicep curl. Now every time your arms lengthen long, see if that can help you curl up maybe just a little bit higher while still keeping your neutral. Getting a little deeper engagement. Last two. And one. Roll it down. Inhale. Exhale, curling up. We're going to do 6 bicep curls. Not only are we challenging with those arms, bicep curling, but as the weights come closer to your shoulders, it's harder to keep your shoulders lifted. So our core is working harder. I lost count. We'll say that's our last one. And now we'll just do it one more time. Big inhale and exhale. Tailbone heavy, pelvis neutral. 3 and 2 and 1. Lower down. Good. I like to do a little rock side to side with my knees, even my with my head a little bit to release any tension that we have built in the neck. Okay, from here, legs will lengthen long. And arms are going to reach up towards the ceiling. We still got those weights in our hands. Going into roll-ups. These weights are going to challenge your roll-up and assist. So nice big inhale. Exhale, nod chin to chest, belly button to spine. As we roll up, those weights start to drop towards the ground, and that's actually going to help pull us up. We're going to round over the legs, active through your core. Now we start to roll down, one vertebra at a time. Now the weight's kind of pushing us down, so we've got to resist that, control even more on the way down. So it's kind of helpful on the way up, challenging on the way down. Inhale, exhale. You're not throwing your arms. Your core is pulling you up. Round over your legs. Your legs can bend as much as they need to. Inhale, we start to roll back. Exhale, we control one vertebra at a time. All the way down. Keeping tension out of the neck, chest, and shoulders. Trying to get every single vertebrae to touch down. And we're just gonna do half a one to get us up to sitting. So that's a nice one. If you feel like you have a little bit of a hard time getting up, that, like I said, that weight to help pull you up helps a little bit. Okay, so we are gonna go into rolling like a ball with the weights. Now this is another one where I feel like in some ways it challenges and in some ways it kind of supports and helps. So, and it's a little bit of a brain workout too. What's gonna happen, I like to start with my knees bent and you're rounding back. So I'm active, I'm kind of between my sits bones and my tailbone. And then my legs, my core is strong, my legs are gonna lift up. Your arms are gonna start up. So this is the top of your movement, right? What is gonna happen? You're gonna roll back and your arms will drop, like so. And then we lift back up. So as you roll back, the arms drop. As you roll up, the arms lift. That momentum, I feel like, helps me with that rocking a little bit more. But we're gonna challenge our shoulders and we don't have as much feedback when we're normally we're holding onto our legs, right? So we don't have as much feedback, so our body can move all around. So we still have to keep everything the same as our normal rolling like a ball, even though our arms are doing all this crazy stuff. Okay, let's do it. Enough talking. Core strong, legs lift, arms up. Let's inhale to roll back, exhale to lift. So I'm really working on trying not to let my knees come closer to my nose or further from my nose. So, or not to kick my legs either. Make sure weight is not going onto your neck. We'll do two more. All right, and relax. Good job. All right, we're gonna ditch one of these weights now. So just set it to the side. We're bringing one with us. Go ahead and lay down. All right, so I'm gonna have the weight in my right hand. And I'm going to bend my elbow, so my elbow's pointed up towards the ceiling. I am neutral through my pelvis, through my ribs, and I'm bringing my left leg up to tabletop. As I exhale, I'm going to reach the arm overhead, reach the leg long in front of me, maintaining my neutral pelvis and my rib cage placement, and then bend them back in towards one another. Exhale to reach out, inhale to bend in. So this kind of goes back to the beginning when we were doing our arm movements, our arm warm-up, and we didn't want the rib cage moving. Same thing here. Now that we're adding the leg, we don't want to feel the pelvis rocking or the back arching. If you want to challenge this at all, you could pull into an imprint, bring the other leg up to tabletop with you, and continue to do the same exact thing with that leg in tabletop. It's going to challenge your core more. Finding that stability. 3, and 2, and 1. Good, go ahead and relax. We are going to stay on this side still, but now my right arm is going to lift straight up. My left leg is going to lift straight up. I'm neutral through my pelvis, through my ribs. Exhale, they go away from one another. Inhale, pull back. Good. So, fairly similar. We're just keeping the limbs long now. To challenge, option 1 to challenge, everything reaches back. And then as we come center, we curl up, maybe trying to reach that weight towards your shin. So that is option 1, adding a curl up. As we add that curl, it's going to make you want to arch your back as you reach everything long. Really finding neutral again as we come back to center. Option 2 to challenge, you can do imprint first, then leg come to tabletop, and same thing, reaching away and up. Option 3 is you can curl up with it as well. I'm gonna take a little bend in this leg and my left leg, just because I'm feeling a lot of hip flexor. So that'll help release it. 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Very nice. We're gonna do it all again on the other side. Weight in your left hand, elbow pointing up towards the ceiling. The weight is by my ear. And right leg in tabletop. I'm neutral. And exhale to reach out. Inhale to bend. Exhale to reach. Inhale to bend. Keeping my ribs stable, keeping my pelvis stable. Sometimes it's possible that it could feel big to overextend in the back, but it might feel really tiny as well. So be just really conscious, very aware of the ribs and the pelvis. You can think about your spine. We want to just keep it the same as these limbs are moving. You have the option, if you'd like, to pull into an imprint and bring both legs to tabletop and continue the same pattern. Keeping your imprint, keeping the ribs grounded. 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Okay, we gotta do our straight arm and leg version. So my left arm is straight up, my right leg is straight up. I exhale as they go away. Inhale to bring them back up. Good. And you can add the curling up if you would like. Just make sure you don't overdo it on the way down. Or you can add the other leg to tabletop, making sure you pull into an imprint first. You can also add head and shoulders with the leg and tabletop. 3 more. Last one. And relax. Very nice. Give those knees a little rock side to side or a hug into your chest if that feels like a good release to you. Good. Okay, we're going to grab onto both weights again. So this is one. We're going to go into some bridging, but we're not necessarily using these weights as a challenge. It's more of proprioception, more some feedback for us. So I've got the weights under my hands. If you have like dumbbells, I like to prop them up so they're taller for this one. Whatever feels best for you. My feet are about sits bones width apart, parallel. And my hands are pressing down into my weights. My arms are straight, my triceps are kind of hovering off the mat. Take a nice big inhale. Now as you exhale, we're gonna lift the hips up into a bridge and inhale to tap down. Now notice I didn't roll through my spine like maybe we normally would in a Pilates class. I want you to just keep this nice neutral to lift up and lift and lower down, okay? So exhale, we're lifting up. Inhale, we're lowering down. Now as you lift, I want you to push your hands down into those weights even more and inhale down. Exhale, push and lift. Inhale to lower. So a few things you might feel here. You might feel those triceps firing up a little bit, which is great. We want to feel this like whole backside body work, right? We're getting glutes and hamstrings working. But also, the thing that I really love about this one is it helps me keep my collarbones wide without my ribs flaring. Okay, so I'm still staying connected in my torso, but my collarbones, my chest is a little bit open. Lots of times we start to roll forward. Okay, this next one, we're gonna hold our hips high. Holding here. I like to find more length at the top. Feel like you're reaching from those kneecaps, tilting tailbone to ceiling. And we lower an inch, lift an inch. Every time you lift an inch, you press into those weights even more. So you can get those triceps to fire up a little bit more. Good, go 4, 3, even weight throughout the foot, 2, and 1. Now you can roll down 1 vertebra at a time. Good, release. Now we're gonna add complexity to our bridge, okay? So nothing too wild, we're just adding some arm movement, and I still want all the same good bridge stuff going on, even though we are adding more. So, we have weights in hands. Arms are starting straight up over your chest. We exhale to bridge and arms open wide. And then lower down. Now, as the arms open wide, just like we were talking before, we don't want those ribs flaring. We don't want chest puffing. I still want my chest heavy, okay? Exhale. Inhale. Getting into those pecs a little bit. Find the range that feels best on your body. We'll do 3 more. Very nice. Last one. And relax. Good. Set the weights down just for a moment. I like to hug my knees in after a bridge and circle it out just to give my low back a little massage. Reverse the circle. Okay. Roll onto your side. I'm laying on my right side first, and I'm just going to grab onto one weight. So I'll put the other one at the top of my mat for now. So just one weight in hand. Lying on our sides, feel free to prop anything under your head that you like. You could use a ball, you could use a block, a pillow, blanket. I'm just going to use my arm, but if that's not comfortable for you, grab one of those other things. So we are going to do some side lying, maybe movement that you might be familiar with, but we're just challenging it a little bit with this weight. It's going to maybe challenge the shoulder a little, but mostly we're challenging our balance here. So with that said, go ahead and grab onto that weight with your left hand. Both legs are going to go long. Feel free to prop anything under your hip for a little extra padding if you'd like. Let's find our alignment first. Hips are stacked like bunk beds, so you don't want one hip leaning backwards, right? Stacked nice and tall. And then both feet are in line with one another. Sometimes the top foot is a little shorter because our torso, we're kind of cinching in the torso here. So we're going to think of lengthening through the torso, pushing that hip away from you, and then you're going to be nice and in line. Core is active. Make sure your ribs aren't popping forward. It's a reminder for myself. And then grab onto that weight and bring it up towards the ceiling. And you're going to lift and lower the top leg. I like to flex up and point down. So immediately, not anything too crazy with the arm, right? Maybe even not too crazy through the leg either. But maybe you're feeling a little more challenged. Normally we've got our hand in front of our chest here on the mat, which allows us to use the arm to help us with any balancing or any wobbles that might happen. So we've got to just keep our core a little more active here. Now I'm going to start to add the arm moving with the leg. So as the leg lowers, my arm lowers. Leg lifts, my arm lifts. So just adding more instability, more chaos through the body, but still have to stay just as stable through the center of my body. Okay. And maybe feeling that shoulder heat up a little bit. Next one, we're keeping the arm and the leg up. Leg is going to circle. Make sure your hips are not wobbling, your ribs are not wobbling, your shoulders are not wobbling. Sometimes the shoulders want to wobble to compensate for the lower body. Let's reverse. Core strong. Keep reaching through that top leg. 3, 2, and 1. Relax for a moment. That's your little baby breather for your hip. Now we're going to start to add the bottom leg moving with it. This is where we're really going to feel those obliques needing to help us with our balance. So we're reaching that weight over our shoulder again. Top leg is going to lift. Now bottom leg is coming to meet it. Control as you lower. Top leg up. Exhale, bottom leg comes to meet it. Make sure you don't go rolling backwards or forwards. Control as you lower. Lift up. Lower. Good. This is kind of my challenging side. I started with my hard side. So I feel myself really wanting to roll back. Ooh, that was a wobbly one. So I've got to use those obliques more, stay connected in my torso. One more like that. Now we're going to lift both legs up together. Exhale. Woo! Lower down. See, we're not all perfect. Okay, make sure you lower down, that your top foot's trying to reach longer than your bottom foot. That's gonna keep those hips in a good place. And you might need to make the movement smaller, like I just did, to be able to stay stable. 2 more like that. Oh man, wobble wobble. Okay, and relax. Good, you're gonna rub out that hip a little bit. And we're gonna do it all again on the other side. Flipping around, bringing the weight with you. Okay, let's find our alignment first, right? Each side is different, so let's just real quickly get into that alignment. My legs are in line with my body. I can see my toes, barely my knees, okay? Don't make sure the legs aren't in front. Hips are stacked and pressing away from my ribs. So I'm feeling length through both sides of my torso. I grab onto that weight and bring it up towards the ceiling, and I lift my top leg and lower it down. Lifting and lowering. I want you to imagine like I'm in the room and I'm pulling your leg towards the wall, to the other side of the room. That's going to help keep your hip, I'll kind of do it from falling inwards, kind of collapsing in and then pulling out. I want you to just think of it long, long, long through the torso. Opposite, let's see, right oblique, trying to lift away from the mat to stay active. Let's start to add the arm moving with the leg. So my arm lowers, my arm lifts. Good. Closing off your rib cage. Sarah, talking to myself. Maybe you too. Let's hold it up. Circling the leg. No wobbles. Just as stable as if your hand was down. Which means you might have to make the circle smaller. Engage the core more. Let's reverse the circle. Reach that top hip away from your ribs. Find more length through your torso. 3, 2, and 1. Whew. Relax. Rub out the hip a little bit. Very nice. Okay, right back into it, adding the bottom leg. Let's see if this side is better than my other side. Reaching that arm up. Top leg is gonna lift. Exhale, bottom leg lifts with it. Control them down. Top leg, bottom leg, control. Okay, so I'm definitely feeling better on this side. So remember, each side's different. Each side might need a little adjustment that the other side didn't. That is fine. We gotta listen to our body and what it needs to keep our alignment, to keep our stability. Good, let's lift both legs at the same time. Lifting, controlling to lower. Lifting, controlling. I'm trying to reach my top foot longer than my bottom as I lower down. 2 more. And 1. Relax. Rub out the hip. You guys are lucky. You can grimace through that. I'm on this video and I've got to keep smiling for you. It's hard. All right, come on up. We're still going to keep the 1 weight, and we're now going to come to a 4-point kneeling position. So onto our hands and knees. If being on your hands and knees is not a great option for you, it's hard on your knees or it's hard on your wrists. For wrists, you could be on your fist, or you could maybe stand, and you'll just want to lean with hands maybe on the top of a table or a chair, kind of something to support you, okay? Those are always options. I've got the weight in my right hand, and I'm coming to 4-point kneeling. My left wrist is under my left shoulder. My knees are under my hips. I'm in a nice neutral spine, so I'm not arched, not rounded, finding my middle ground there. My core is active to keep me here. You're going to reach your right arm straight overhead and then bring it down, and then it opens out to the side to like a T, and then it lowers down, and then it's going to reach back behind me and down. We're going to continue to alternate through all 3 of those. Exhale to lift, inhale to drop. Exhale and inhale. So yes, we are getting into the shoulder, but we're also doing a lot of good core work here as well. Because I'll kind of come into an angle so you can see a little better. We don't want to start side cinching maybe that's the wrong angle to show you. We don't want to start getting any movement like this, leaning to help us. We don't want the back arching at all to help us. Okay, we're keeping everything super square and stable as this arm goes through different movements. So I can really feel my obliques working. Strong through that supporting shoulder as well. Make sure you're not sinking down into it, right? Lift up out of it, nice and active. Make sure to, that you're not locking it. We'll do one more time through all three of those. Good. And little child's pose. So yes, felt a little shoulder, tons of obliques. We're gonna do that all again on the other side. Flip around for you. So now the weight's in my left hand. Line yourself up. Knees are right under my hips, wrists right under my shoulders, and reaching the arm up, and down, and out, and down, back. I should mention, when I was showing you kind of all that movement that your torso could do as you're moving through this, I was kind of making it extreme, so you got the point. It might be much smaller than that. So again, we've got to be just really aware. Feel length through both sides of your torso. I often think about the space between my rib bones and my hip bones needs to be the same on both sides. So I don't want to feel cinching on one side and length on the other, or short on one side and long on the other. Little bend in that supporting arm, shoulder away from ear and chin off chest. Let's do 2 more times through. Last one. Very nice. Set it down. Feel free to do some cat-cows here or a child's pose. Whatever feels like a good release for you there. And we are on to our very last moving work here. So we're going to come up to standing. We've done lying on our stomachs, lying on our backs, lying on our sides, 4-point kneeling. So now we're going to take it all up to standing. Let's bring both weights with us. Okay. So I'll try to, I like to be off of a mat here. My mat's pretty cushy, so it's going to create a lot of instability. So I'm going to work off of my mat on a nice flat surface. I have both weights in hand. I'm going to step my right foot forward and my left foot back. I'll give you this side view here. Now I'm going to bend into my right knee a little. My back knee, my left heel is lifted off the ground. My spine is going to stay long and I'm just going to hinge forward a little bit. So one long line from my head all the way down to my toes, okay? We don't want to be pitching forward. From here, let's just do a quick little protraction and retraction with the arms like we did lying down at the very beginning. So as we protract, feel how those weights help us pull the shoulder blades apart. And then retract challenges the retraction a little bit. So the weights pull our shoulder blades down, and then we pull them together. So we can feel how much we want to move here, especially as we don't have anything kind of stopping us, right? Before we had the ground, our mats to kind of stop our shoulders from moving too much. But now we're pretty open. Find somewhere in the middle. So finding that neutral, and we're going to open the arms wide. So come to an angle, kind of opening wide. Elbows can be as bent as you need here. Exhale and inhale. So not only am I using core, back, shoulders, but I'm definitely feeling that standing, that right glute working. Now you can stay here, or if you'd like, you can shift a little more weight to the right foot, maybe just being on the toes of the left leg. Maybe you hover that left foot off the ground. Or maybe you lift it up really high, the chest has to dip a little bit and our body comes to a T shape. Tons of balance work here. Everything's working. Just 2 more. Hips staying square. Woo, and stand up. Shake it out. I can feel that in my hip quite a bit. Okay, we're going to do it on the other side. Sorry, my head's cut out. All right, so my left foot is forward. My right foot is back. My heel is lifted. Long spine, just hinging it forward a little bit. Core is strong. Find your neutral. We're not going to go through the full protraction and retraction, so just finding somewhere between. We'll go right into arms opening wide and back forward. We'll come on an ankle on this side. Make sure as those arms open wide, we're not letting the ribs pop forward, okay? So strong core. Long neck. And then you can start to transfer weight, maybe just shifting the weight forward a little bit so there's less weight on your right toes. Maybe hovering the right toes. So that's already a balance challenge, but if you want to challenge it even more, pitch the body forward as the leg lifts up. My body's in a T shape or close to a T shape as I continue to open with the arms. 3 more. 2. And 1. Stand up, roll out through the shoulders. Very, very nice. Last thing here, and it's just more stretchy. I'm going to come down to kneeling so you can see my whole upper body. You can absolutely stay standing here. Still got the weights. You're going to reach both arms overhead. Right arm's going to drop. It's going to help you kind of pull you to that side. Take a little stretch. And then lift it back up. Left arm's going to drop. Take that little stretch. Very nice. 1 more each side. All right. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. This was the first of 2. I did not say that at the beginning. This is the first of 2 workouts with these weights. So be looking for another one, and we'll see you later.